restricted. I'm already restricted on TikTok. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a wild 24 hours we have had. Absolutely crazy. We have got talk about some really wild talk about conscription as well. Severe punishments. I'm going to be talking about those severe punishments for people who refuse conscription. We're going to be talking about the truth bombs. Trump's truth bombs dropped at Davos. It's all going down, ladies and gentlemen. And look, before we get into this, and before I start going on to my monologue and looking at the chat, in fact, we were even starting with a super. Who sent me a super already? I've not even been on. Lisa Jane is saying NATO talks on Greenland tariff U-turns. I'll have a look at that shortly. What we know is Donald Trump's come out today about Donald Trump's come out on YouTube, not on YouTube, and maybe it was on YouTube, I don't know. Donald Trump came out today and he is ruling out for the use of force in Greenland. Now, that to me says two things. One, the rule of force is already out. And two, he's only saying that because there must be some sort of agreement behind the scenes, some sort of, the way things happen, right? The way things happen in these political circles. Before Donald Trump says anything, it will be either agreed or disagreed. So he's not listening. People think that Trump's brash and, all this. He's very competent. So before Donald Trump comes out and makes an announcement, a couple of things are going to happen. The people behind the scenes, they're going to be talking to their opposite numbers. So, for example, and so the Trump tariff U-turns, the Trump coming out and saying he's ruling out force in Ukraine. He's ruling out force in Greenland. That to me says that this is already a done deal. Greenland's, look, as far as I'm concerned, Greenland's going to be American. That's the reality. So before any of these political decisions get made, my people will talk to your people. They'll come to a deal, and then I'll sit on it and I'll listen to the options and I'll choose one of those options. And then my people will come back to your people. They'll come up with more options until it's done, right? That's how it works. Is anybody under the illusion that Donald Trump goes out there, that Keir Starmer well, certainly not Keir Starmer. Is anyone under the illusion that world leaders go out there and that's the first time they're meeting and they don't know the outcome? So, when there's these meetings and these big public meetings with all the camera, the media, the press, that may be the first time that those two world leaders are meeting, but they both know the outcome. They both know what the other person's going to say before it happens. So all these NATO talks, Greenland, as far as I'm concerned, guys, Greenland's a done deal. It really is. It's a done deal, and it's been a done deal a while. But thank you for that, Lisa Jane, throwing a super on there before I even started. Right, what else have we got on the chat on YouTube? X82 is saying, evening, Sean, evening, X82. Lewis Ackers is saying, conscientious objector, white feathers coming back into play. Right, listen, Danny saying, no drinking on TikTok, Sean. You have a warning banner. Yeah, I've got a warning banner on TikTok because, listen, literally, as soon as I woke up this morning, I've been on it. I've been hitting things. I've been making things happen. I've been taking myself to the candy shop. I've been spending all I've got. I keep going till I hit the spot. Whoa. I did, guys. I went to the candy shop today. I've been hitting all I got. Literally, I got up this morning, went to the gym, kids had gone to school. I went to the gym, blasted that shit like it was 1982. Not even 1982. I went full on 2006. You guys hearing me, fam, who in the military? You know what I'm talking about, right? I went full 2006 in the gym. I did. I went 2006 in the gym this morning. sprinting, jumped in there, 15 pull-ups off the bat. I was smashing it. I went again this afternoon and did it. I got back from the gym. I've been putting videos out there, sales videos, media content. I did 150 pints. I didn't drink them. I made them. I've been absolutely rushed off my feet today. Then I went to the gym. Then I got back. Then I chopped some wood for the log burner. Wood's on the fire. I'm on the live stream. And you guys have got my undivided attention. And listen, if anybody is on the, do you know what? I'll talk about it later because I'll just get another restriction on. I'll just get another restriction on TikTok. Right. What UK warning? Okay, conscription warning to the United Kingdom. That's what. Let me start my opening monologue because I'm just going on. I've not even started my opening monologue. Opening monologue right now, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Conscription warning to the United Kingdom. Severe punishments have been identified. That's what I'm going to talk about. And look, I've been that brushed off my feet. I've not even got a chance to highlight some particular Trump videos. But don't worry. Don't you guys worry. I'll manage to get them up seamlessly. I will get them up seamlessly, but I don't have them now. So before we talk about this, I just want to briefly touch on conscription itself and is it necessary? Absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary. It's not ideal, but it's going to be necessary because the wars that we made. You know what? Look, guys, is anybody under the illusion right now that we're not going to be in a war with Russia? Does anybody think that? I don't. Does anybody think that, there's an off-ramp? There's an off-ramp where we don't end up at WWG may be the only off-ramp, right? I mean, World War G. And I did a couple of... for those of you guys who are not watching my midday videos, I've been doing quite a few midday videos. And, the move forwards that I'm seeing now between this extraterrestrial stuff, it is bonkers. It's really crazy when you consider that, 10 years ago, talking about aliens was like, nanu, oh, that guy's crazy, put your tinfoil hat on. But now it's just like, it's just like accepted. And I do think we're being primed, but that's not what I'm talking about now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just, I'm just going to jump to it, right? Okay. Conscription in the United Kingdom, all right? Picture this, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the world feels more dangerous than it has in decades. You have to go back to the Cold War. You have to go back to the Second World War. Russia is grinding away in Ukraine. And if you live in the United Kingdom, Ukraine, Russia, Europe is going to be your main event. It's going to be your only event, actually. The Russians are showing the world that war isn't drones and missiles. It's still, they still need trenches. It's still mud, holding villages, men with rifles occupying the ground the old-fashioned way. And I know there's a lot of drone bros on here. There's a lot of drone bros on the, there's a lot of drone bros on the live chat. Oh, but Sean, and I get that. Look, I do. I get that. There's a lot of things that humans can do, like all of them, that you just can't get with technology. Really, there is. So modern warfare is still trenches, mud, blood, holding ground, holding villages, taking ground, taking villages, taking trenches. It's men with rifles. And I've always said this. Like, how many times have I been on the live stream and I've said, ultimately, wars are won, fought, and they're either won and lost and fought by private soldiers on the front line with 5.56 or 5.45, whatever you roll with, bayonets fitted and hand grenades. That's it. When I used to do military training around the world, they would all want this fancy kit and equipment. And I say, bro, literally, give me bullets and grenades. That's all I need. That's all I want. Give me enough of them, and I will take whatever country you point me to. Give me enough bullets and grenades, and I'll take it. So here we are in Britain, you know, with our army smaller than it's been since the Napoleon era. Top end estimates, it's very difficult to understand. Top end estimates, no higher than 75,000, depending on where you get your sources from how big the armed forces are. That the army I'm talking about now is it's no more. Nobody ever. It's 70. I think it's like 73.4, 73.8, 7, some whatever. I'm just going to say 75,000, right? Because I just can't be bothered to like argue about it. I can't be bothered somebody coming up, oh, but Sean, it's actually 70. Oh, right, okay, 75,000. We'll just go with it. It's an easy number if I have to do Raven maths. Recruitment is missing their targets year after year, and the whole force is stretched thinner than a Tesco value loaf. And if you've been in the military, you know exactly what I mean. A Tesco value loaf in the military, you know, that goes a long way. So there's this guy, Dr. Mike Martin. He is an ex-officer. He served in Afghanistan. I don't know why that's a qualifier, but it is. Apparently, if you served in your Afghanistan, you're a subject matter expert. What about Afghanistan? What about Iraq? What about Northern Ireland? What about the Balkans? What about, look, guys, I've got loads of accolades. I'm not even gonna mention them. Anyway. So he sat on the Defence Select Committee, and he put it bluntly. He said straight out, he was asked, would we need conscripts? Yes, we would. Why? Because we are nowhere near the point where you can swap out people for drones entirely. And drones are fantastic, you know. The drones are actually that fantastic. I've printed off a little thing so you guys can understand when I'm talking about drones. I do know a little bit what I'm talking about. You know, they are brilliant, and the war in Ukraine has proven that every day. But drones don't hold a village. They can't take a village. They can't dig trenches. They can't go on a patrol. They can't deal with the punctuations and the intricacies and the didactic situations that soldiers find themselves in. You know, they're very limited. For now, until that Tesla bot, until Nikolai Musk, until Elon Musk's Tesla bot starts jumping down with guns and stuff, then maybe that's a different thing. You know, they can't keep the peace on the streets when the shooting stops. You need boots on the ground, always. That is a reality. You need boots on the ground who are willing to occupy territory and hold it, basically. That you will always need that. I don't see what technological advance would mitigate that. Even the Tesla bots, they still need technicians, right? And that's not changing anytime soon. So the government's line, and let me be clear, Keir Starmer's been crystal clear, no conscription yet. But remember, this is what they say. And how many times has Keir Starmer backtracked? Like, bear in mind, I'm doing this live stream on the 21st of January. So how many times has Keir Starmer backtracked this year? Do you know what? Listen, how many times has the Labour government this year done gaffes where they're backtracking? And if you want to look at Keir Starmer, just look at his gaffes. So I would speculate there is not much trust in what Keir Starmer says. So instead, what they're doing is, you know, what the government in their infinite wisdom are doing, they're pushing the voluntary stuff. They're boosting defense spending little by little. And it's not as, you know, I've talked about that like hand and foot. Defense spending isn't always synonymous with defense capacity increase, capacity building. There's been recruitment drives, even the new military gap year scheme, starting with a few hundred spots for the under 25s, hoping it will grow. It's a start. But let's be honest, right? how quickly do things move? If things kick off, and I mean really kick off, which like it feels like they could do any moment, a big conventional war, like a global conflict on an industrial scale, those those volunteers and those voluntary plans will not cut the mustard with numbers. We need more men. That is the harsh, dark, stark reality. We need more men. We don't have enough. So if you guys can remember Rishi Sunak's pitch back in 2024. And look, guys, I'll be quite honest. I think this was a good idea. Don't we all wish we had Rishi back? Don't we all wish we had Rishi back? I know I do. I wish we had Boris back. I do. I wish we had Boris back. Boris was great. Boris's toaster speech got him axed, I think. So back in 2024, Rishi Sunak called for, and I think this is a good idea. I'll be quite clear. I want to throw myself out there. Mandatory national service for every 18-year-old. You can choose a you can choose a year in the forces or community volunteering. And honestly, like, I don't see the negatives in this. I really don't. I do not see the negatives in this. I just see positives. So why Labour binned it, I don't know. But the choice was military or community service. Labour called it desperate and binned it after the election, but the idea didn't vanish. It's still flashing around. So where does that leave us today? Where does this leave ordinary people today? Ordinary people of the United Kingdom. No one's dragging anyone off to basic training right now. You know, nobody are. But these sort of plans, this sort of talk isn't scaremongering for clicks. What people are saying is, me included, is if we slide into a real conflict, and I don't mean Afghanistan and Iraq, I mean a real global conflict where Oreshnik's being fired, intercontinental ballistic missiles, drone strikes, we're swizzled. We don't have enough men. That is the reality. A long attritional fight, we need more men and we need them fast. History shows what happens when conscription comes back, and it's probably going to be starting with the youngest and fittest, exemptions for key workers, and I heard that certain religions will be exempt because, they're a peaceful religion. They like to call themselves the religion of peace. And I think, I think it's fair that if you're in a religion of peace, you should be exempt. Well, do you know what, guys? What do you guys think? Do you think it's fair that some religions should be exempt from conscription because they're the religion of peace? I don't know. What do you guys think? But remember, the government just a few days ago raised the bar under the new rules for the reservists to be called back. So now you can be 65 and the government can still call you back. And it is grim to think about, I know. None of us, any adult right now would prefer, you would prefer you to go to this, totally hypothetical war, rather than your children. I know families that dad and son have both in a conflict. The war in Afghanistan, what was it, 20 years? All right. So dad went to the war, did several tours. Baby was born. Baby grew up. Baby went to war. And this is why I always say all wars are pointless. They're pointless. They're ridiculous. Like 10 years, 10 years after it ends, like everything's back to normal. I'm going to jump onto the chat now before I continue. But if you're joining us for the first time, we are talking about the conscription warning to people in the United Kingdom. Yes, I'm not making that up. Severe punishments have been announced. And then we're going to jump onto some Trump truth bombs, because we love those Trump truth bombs, don't we? We love those Trump truth bombs. Trump has shook a bowl of ants and everybody's blaming each other rather than looking at themselves. Yeah, I think that's a fair analogy. That is a fair analogy. Trevor Pritchard is saying, hi all, weather has been horrible down here. What would Starmer say to a real alien? I don't know. Do you want a hotel or something? Maybe. I don't know. X82 is saying, I feel some people use religion as an excuse. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Galloway Raider, who's in Scotland, is saying, hey, DJT for a real world leader. Right? If the aliens come, I want DJT going up there and negotiating the deal for the world. And I think that would be quite fair. Like, who else? Like, you know, if the aliens did come down, who else would you want going up there negotiating that deal? You would definitely want Trump. You absolutely would want Trump going up there. Monocrov is saying it's fascinating. Oh, let me put the chat on. Monocrov is saying it's fascinating how some cultures and religions manage to persuade their. Oh, hang on. Oh, Monocrov is saying it's fascinating how some cultures and religions manage to persuade their population into forming a cult around poor souls that died in wars. Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is right. I mean, you know, what you're saying is fair. I think the word respect needs to go in there as well. So, like, it, you know, I don't think that people form cults around people that died in wars. I think people have respect for what other people did before them, you know, like what people, you know, for example, what my grandparents did, you know, these grandparents, my great grandparents. You know, the war efforts in my, you know, that my grandparents gave, you know, they had it really hard, and they built that new world so their children could prosper. And I think that I wouldn't use the word cult. I'd use the word respect. Most of this comes from looking at, for example, Lebanon. Right, okay, right. Listen, guys, I want to try and stay on track today. Oh, right. Everybody's talking about aliens. Look, guys, I'm gonna do aliens videos. Aliens videos are gonna be my midday videos, right? Debatable Lands is saying, I'd say to aliens, go back to where you came from. Wouldn't that be alienist? Wouldn't that be humanist? And we don't like humanists. Like, you know, when the aliens turn up, right? You know, when the aliens turn up, there's gonna be the people beating the drum, right? Bum 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 bum. We love aliens, yes we do. They can do just what we. Hang on. We love aliens, yes we do. They are human, just like two. No, we love aliens, yes we do. Aliens, aliens. No, I've got it. We love aliens, yes we do. Put me in your alien stew. Maybe that's what they're going to be chanting. Put me in your alien stew. But like right now, saying you're a humanist, saying you like humans, you want humanity to succeed. Maybe when the aliens, you know, maybe when the aliens arrive, they're, you know, people are going to be all wanting, you know, oh, you're a humanist. We don't like humanists. That's not very progressive. They are. Listen, I've watched Independence Day. I've watched Independence Day. Silicalardi is saying, Starmer will probably let the aliens build a mega embassy in London. What? You mean a mega embassy in London, right over the internet cables that supply London with millions of people's information every day? No, I don't think so. That's some wild conspiracy. Daniel Prince is saying, would Australia be involved in World War III? I am ready to leave, had enough. What countries would be safe to leave to? I don't think there's going to be any, really, mate. Antarctica. Honestly, I think Antarctica is your best bet. If you can get a patch of land on Antarctica, go for that. Right, let me jump to the bottom and then I'm going to continue. Is this the one in... Okay, so Googleinos is saying school goes into lockdown as severely distressed pupils hide. I think this is the one in Liverpool. I think this is the one in Liverpool. Right. Let me continue because we've all seen the headlines. We've all seen the... I'll continue. So we've all seen that... In fact, right, you guys on TikTok, because I've got a restriction... Lucy Liu, Shannon Bishop, X, Paul Beryl. Guys, I honestly, when I look at the TikTok names, I could just read the names out. I am going to close. There's some fantastic names on TikTok. I will be closing you guys down on TikTok in like really soon. So if you guys want to continue this live stream, I will be continuing the live stream over on YouTube. But I put most of my content now. Most of my content, in fact, yeah, I'm not all of it. Most of my content goes on YouTube. So if you guys want to jump over there to YouTube, I'm a Real Raven 1 on YouTube. So I will, once I close you guys down on TikTok, I will continue the live stream with you fine people on YouTube. And then once the TikTok has gone, listen, guys, you guys are on TikTok. You don't want to miss this. I'm going to be talking to you guys on on YouTube, about the video I did earlier for the members and how much money that has actually saved people. It's going to be phenomenal. I think I've saved people. Remember, a penny saved is a penny earned. So I think, and I'll do the maths later, I think that video for the members has just saved every member at least bare minimum £40 a week, if it works. I don't know if it's going to work. Anyway, so I will be closing you guys relatively soon. So everybody's seen the headlines, everybody's seen the loins, everybody's seen the loincloths about World War III fears, Russia throwing around some truly chilling threats. It was only the other day, and I did a video on this, one of their I can't remember who it was, but they went on the Tucker Carlson. Was he on Tucker Carlson? I can't remember. I shared you guys the Tucker Carlson video, didn't I? And basically what he said was that if Russia ever edges close to defeat, or they feel like they're on the back foot, they will go nuclear. Nuclear smooclear. Now, his words were blunt. What he said, Europe will be physically finished. It's the sort of rhetoric that's meant to scare people. And it's working. It is working on quite a lot of people. Then you layer on the worries about our own defenses. And let me just throw this out there from the get-go, right? If missiles were fired at the United Kingdom now, we have no way to defend them. We don't. None. That's wrong. That's fake news. That's fake news. That's fake news. That's totally wrong what I was saying. Let me rephrase that. If missiles were fired at the United Kingdom right now, our defenses are futile. They're futile. It involves sending up intercept aircraft and shooting them. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Especially when you think that the Russians are gearing up to fire 1,000 drones a day at Kiev. Yes, I get it. The F-35 is the most fantastic, amazing, brilliant, expensive airplane. But let me Google this. It's worse than I thought. It's worse than I thought. So, you know, all these aircraft bros who think that like expensive technology trumps cheap technology, right? Okay, so bear in mind, right? The F-35 is, you know, it's Britain's best aircraft, right? It's got, you know, it's the best. It's the best. It's got the stealth technology. It's, you know, you can do all this cool stuff. Okay, I'm just going to read this from AI. Okay, so remember, F-35s, right? Fantastic, so expensive, billions of dollars on this, billions. What is it? Billions. Okay, the Russians are developing cheap disposable drones, right? Okay, so they are firing, you know, they're gearing up to fire 1,000 every day at Ukraine. Okay, so doesn't matter how expensive your missile is, it can only take down one drone. That's physics, guys. That is literally physics. It can only take down one. Okay, so imagine the Russians send, you know, just a normal volley of drones. Nothing, you know, nothing greater. You know what? Let's just say they send half a volley. Let's just say a normal volley of drones is 1,000, right? Because that's on the mainstream media. The Russians are gearing up to be able to fire 1,000 drones at Ukraine per day. Let's just say that they half that to the United Kingdom, right? They half it. They only send 500, all right? And we've got like what? We've got two, you know, F-35. It won't even be an F-35. It'll be something else. Interceptors, all the stealth and all the technology. So now you've got, and I'm going to read this. So I'm just going to read this off AI. An F-35 can carry 4 to 6 air-to-air missiles. So your F-35 is going up there. Yeah, I'm cool. I got this. Stealth. BAE systems, BAE. I got this. Speed, agility. There's 1,000 drones coming, 500 drones coming towards him. Yeah, I got you. He fires one missile. It moves, the heat-seeking technology. The gimbal locks onto the target. Kaboom! Drone number 1 gone. And the pilot goes, yeah, high five, yeehaw. They do a barrel roll. There's high fives. Right, okay, only 499 to go. Okay, yeah, we're going pew, 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 pew. Okay, you get the picture, right? Then they expend their 6 missiles. Oh, hey, Maverick, what goose leader red? What are we going to do about the other 494? I don't know. I'm the best pilot. Like, the numbers don't add up. And in fairness, you know, that's in stealth mode. In beast mode, they can carry up to 14 sidewinders. But still, you guys see where I'm going, right? You guys see where I'm going? War at scale, war at mass. It's ridiculous. And anybody who thinks that it's not, they really don't understand. Like, they don't count, basically. You can't count. If you think that Britain sending up fast jets against hundreds, thousands of drones is going to work, you may have missed the day at school when they did counting. Kaz on TikTok is saying, hey all, and hey all to you, Kaz. Listen, Kaz, I will be I said I'm going to. Right, listen, Kaz and everyone on TikTok, I will be closing you guys down relatively soon. Pure bread is in like the bread you eat. It's Nick, Barry, Elaine Hamilton, all of you guys. You're going to have to jump over to YouTube because I'm still going to continue with this live stream. So, In fact, I'll do it now. I am going to close you guys down now, like right now, and I will be continuing this live stream on YouTube. Otherwise, I'll just keep waffling and I'll forget to close you guys down. But if not, don't worry. I've got a restriction. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, and I don't think I'll be drinking carbonated drinks tomorrow morning. Anyway, I bid you good evening if you're not going to jump over. I'm the Real Raven One on YouTube, and I do hope to see you there. Right, I think we're done. Are we done? Yes, I think. Well, am I? I don't even know if I'm off. Am I off? Yeah, I am off. Right, let's see if I can do this without whacking my finger. Right, so does everybody understand how futile Britain's air defences are? Does everybody understand how futile our air defences are? It's, you know, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Now, I do want to say that conscription, I don't think the word conscription is going to be used in that context. I don't think people are going to use the word conscription. They will use something else. It will be, the word will be something else. Sean is buying the drinks tomorrow, chat. Count me in. Am I buying? I don't know. Am I buying the drinks tomorrow? What's happening? Am I buying the drinks tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe I am. Stephen is saying we need 15 good RAF boys and some spite. Look, when we talk about drones, drone warfare, and I'm not talking about these things because I don't think these things. So I've had some difference in opinions between you guys on the chat, and there weren't differences in opinion at all. We were saying the same thing, but the perspective was different. So you guys have seen that meme, right? There's a guy looking this way, and he's saying, it's a circle. And there's a guy looking this way saying, it's a square. And the light shining shadows on the wall, and there's like a cylinder inside. They're both right. So when I say that drones are not changing the battlefield, they're not. When I say drones are changing the battlefield, they are, because I'm talking about two different things, and people think that drones are drones. They're not. So these are the ones that are not really changing the battlefield because they're not taking over from artillery. They're just replacing it. These ones, the fixed wing kind of UAV, they are absolutely going to change. They're going to change modern warfare. They are going to make F-35s obsolete. They will. The cost, the speed that they can be produced, it's, you know, it really is phenomenal. Old school style. I don't know what old school style for what, Millimono. Millimono saying old school style. Oh, upgrade. Next up, we have PowerPoints on here. No, we don't have PowerPoints. I started to do that because I realized I was talking to a lot of people about drones, and it was like, there are so many different types of drones, and everybody, oh, drone. There's so many different types. I just wanted to get the three main types of drones just to show you guys with the ones I was talking about. Right. Your beer, Sean, ad shot. Have I got a beer ad? Have I done a beer? Did I do a beer ad? But who said that? Listen, I have no choice over the ads, but what I will say to those of you guys who are members, I did a video today and I showed you guys, I showed the members, I did a members only video. Yeah, I did. And this is trying to get you guys, many of you guys as I can, to become members. I did a video and I showed you guys how to make high strength, Swedish vodka, or I think they call it Braha in Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. It's basically you're using the minimum ingredients to get the maximum yield, and I did a little tutorial about that. Some of you guys have been asking me questions on that, and I'm hoping that you, for like £2, literally for £2, you can get yourselves 5 litres of 5 litres of Swedish vodka, but we're going to have to see how it turns out. Right. Let me continue, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to talk about these. I want to talk about this severe punishment that's coming. And let me be quite clear. I should have started this with the live view. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The rich will not be fighting. When there's a meat grinder and everybody is making human sausages, the rich people will not be fighting. No, they won't. The rich people will be exempt. And I will come on to that in a second. So, like I said, conscription's not on the cards right now. However, the world is bonkers. Britain has been described as its weakest in decades. Numbers down, global instability, Trump eyeing Greenland, tensions everywhere, Putin grinding in Ukraine. People are whispering that Starmer will have no choice. The government's made it quite clear we have no current plans. The conscriptions happened twice, I think, in the UK, World War I, World War II. Now, here's where I'm going to talk about these severe punishments. So there's this guy, this historian. In fact, I'll share this with you guys real quick. Right, there's loads. Right, okay, am I going to share this? Right, I'll refresh. Right, hang on. What I do is if I refresh the screen and then share it with you as quick as I can, I might not get the ads. Right, so I'll share this real quick. Let's see if I can do it. Yes. So there we are. Severe punishment for facing Brits who refuse conscription. So this is the headline. That was the headline. I've turned it off before the ads come off. Come on. That was the headline in the Express, and that was published, I believe. On. Yes, I'm back on. Right, I'm back on. Right, sorry about that, guys. So, yeah. So that was the headline there, basically. Severe punishments for people who refuse conscription, basically. So that's the headline I'm going from. Okay. So this leading this leading historian and author, David Swift, he was speaking about what could happen if someone just flat out ignored the call up. And what he's saying is he doesn't think that prison would be the right way to go. Why? Well, he's saying that the jails are already full, and it would be an absolute nightmare to enforce on mass scale. And it would, because think about it. If you have to arrest somebody and send them to jail, that means you have to send several police officers out to arrest each and every person. Virtually impossible to do that, and then what are you going to do if that person's not there? What are you going to do? Have it's just like, okay, so imagine conscription happens right now. Keir Starmer is like, yeah, I need every able-bodied man and lad to turn up for conscription. People are like, yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'd like to, but I'm renting, so yeah, I'd like to, but it's steak Friday, it's ribeye Friday. It's virtually impossible to enforce it, right? With the police, because those, think about it, right? So say that there's 100,000 people who just refuse in the UK, and the government are like, right, we need to arrest 100,000 people. And that's not that many people. Those numbers seem legit, right? So then you need like 3 officers, maybe 4 officers to go and make each arrest. And then you're going to have to drag them to prison. It's just logistically, it's virtually impossible to do. Any modern version of conscription, I think, is good. You know, and I don't think it's certainly not going to be called conscription. What they're going to do is they're going to make it really, they're going to give you the incentive to join. For example, and this is what people don't understand, like destroy jobs, destroy private sector, destroy independent businesses, destroy the country to a state where nobody's got any money, and then say to them, if you want to join the military, this is what you get. You get a decent pay, which is better than nothing, right? Which is better than nothing. You know, you get 3 meals a day, which is more than you was having before. And you get a roof over your head, which is more than you had before. So it's like win, 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 right? So that is the incentive that I think is going to make, that's what I think is coming, but they're going to do it like huge. So what this guy's thinking is the severe punishment is going to be something slightly worse, I would say, worse. Instead, he's saying that there would be hefty fines, something severe enough to actually make you think twice about dodging it. Not a slap on the wrist, but a proper financial burden. He pointed to Greece. Look, any financial burden. Do you think if you're rich, your mum and dad are not going to pay this fine? Right, Tarquin. Yep, you've got your conscription letters up. Oh, Dad, can you pay that? Yeah, no worries. That's what's going to happen, right? And then who's not going to pay that? The poor. The poor always pay. The poor pay for everything. And it's sad. One of my friends, actually, he pointed something out to me. He says, Sean, rich people don't pay for anything. And he was right. You know, if you're like rich, if you're a celebrity, you've got like, you're a multi-millionaire, people are throwing iPhones at you. They're throwing little necklaces and like, because they want you to use their products. Because everybody's like, oh, celebrities are like, I can remember, right, when I'm old enough to remember when David Beckham, and I did, David Beckham had his hair bleached blonde, right? Back in like, what was it? Like the early 90s or whatever it was. And he had like the blonde curtains, right? Yeah. Lo and behold, I bleached my hair. I did. I did. Well, you know what? I didn't do it. Sarah did it. Sarah bleached my hair blonde. And it went orange the first time, and then we had to do it again, and it went then it went blonde. But then everybody kept coming up to me and said, oh, Sean, you've had your hair like David Beckham. Like, no, I've not. He's literally had it like me. And then I thought, you know what? I'm done with this. So I just had it all shaved off. And then guess what? David Beckham shaved his hair blonde, shaved his hair off, and everybody's having their hair shaved off. So what I'm saying is, you know, sorry, I went on a bit of a side quest there. Poor people pay for everything. Rich people don't pay for anything. Anyway, so this guy, he's pointing to Greece where they have, so in Greece, there's a fine of, I think it's like 6,000 euros or something. It might have gone up. For refusing to sign up to the military, and again, it's just the way they do it, right? So here in the United Kingdom, so this may be the case, right? Here in the United Kingdom, we've not got conscription, but if you don't sign up when you're eligible, you have to pay extra money, and you know, you have to pay more. But if you do sign up, you get money, you get somewhere to live, you get 3 meals a day. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I thought the food in the military was good. You know, or you could take Switzerland's role. And if you opt out in Switzerland to their mandatory military service, you pay an extra, I think it's 3 or maybe even 5 it might be, I don't know. You pay extra tax, basically. If you opt out of military service in Switzerland, you have to pay extra tax for the whole period you were supposed to serve. So guess what? If you're living on out of mummy and daddy's purse strings, ain't going to affect you. Ain't going to affect you at all. Why? Because you ain't earning nothing. Why are you not earning anything? Because you're an aristocrat. You don't work. You're an aristocrat. So the idea is to keep things practical, making refusal costly, but not draconian that it sparks a massive backlash or fills non-existent prison cells. And let's be honest, in a real crisis, the government would need as many men as possible stepping forward, voluntary. Forcing people, I don't think it's the right way forwards, but I do think it's coming. I think it's necessary, and I think once the voluntary bit's done, then the forced stuff is going to happen, because those guys are going to happen differently. Oh, and Lisa Jane is all over this morning. She's saying NATO in talks with Greenland. Listen, right, let me get this up. I'll get this up. Not that one. Right, so I think let me just get this up, and I'll share this with you guys now. Give me a second. I think this is what we're talking about. Trump drops threat of tariffs over Greenland after NATO talks in Davos. Look, Greenland's going to be American, right? Greenland's going to be America. America's going to be Greenland. And I think those people in Greenland are going to be better off for it. I do. I think those guys are going to be better off for it. Faisal Islam, where did he used to work? I'm sure you. Right, okay, whatever. So I'm looking at this for the first time, and what I can see is, remember, when we talk about Trump and when we talk about NATO, it's not those people that are having the first talks. It's the people behind the scenes, right? It's the people behind the scenes. Eyeball Paul is saying, go to Sky News. I will go to Sky News, Eyeball Paul. I will. I'll go to Sky News. Hang on. I'll just show up and go to Sky News. When you've got the somebody's going to have to give me a better steer than that. I'm really struggling with that. Somebody's going to have to give me a better steer. I've got Sky News. Trump says everybody very happy with the proposed Trump says everyone happy with the proposed Greenland deal. Is that it? Donald Trump says he will not be imposing tariffs. He had a very I think this is it. Okay, Donald Trump says he will not be imposing tariffs regarding Greenland after a very productive meeting with NATO chief Mark Rutte. Right, so there's a video. I'm not going to show the video, guys, because I've been burnt. I've been burnt a few times when I've shared videos, so I don't know what's going to come on that video. Look, this is what's going to happen with Greenland. Nothing else, all right? And I literally, from day one, I said that this would happen, all right? Trump, the United States, are going to take Greenland. They're not going to take it by force. They are just going to give them money, right? They're going to give them money. Now, if NATO are in talks with Greenland, like Lisa Jane is saying, that can only mean one of two things. One, NATO is about to ditch the United States and, you know, and push in the NATO military into Greenland and say, listen, Greenland, we are now Team Greenland. We're going to protect you. We're going to protect you till the hilt. Or we're not going to do that, and we're just going to let the United States take you, because in fairness, it's better that that happens. Galloway Raider is saying he sent a 9.99 super and upside down. That may even be 666, and 666 means the end of things. So very apt. Galloway Raider is saying, I feel the days of the poor protecting the rich is coming to an end, thankfully. And you know what? I agree with that. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. The British Empire served humanity better than anything that has come before Trump. God bless America and the United Kingdom. You know, I wasn't going to talk about this. I wasn't. But I saw, you know, the Amelia, you know, the girl Amelia, right? We all love Amelia. We do. We love Amelia. And I've talked to everyone. And I've talked to everyone about Amelia. And I've said, and I've been, you know, I'm right. She is you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Amelia, the purple-haired girl who's very, like, she does some white, she's an AI generated thing. Like, she did a video earlier on, and she was talking about what the world owes Britain. And the world does owe Britain, like, everything. Like, the whole world owes Britain. Like, we shouldn't be the one giving out benefits. Like, the whole world should be paying Britain tax. Like, if you live in Britain right now, your grandfathers and your forefathers, they did such a sterling job. The whole world owes you a free living right now. But as Galloway Raid is saying there, you know, as Galloway Raid is saying there, he feels the days of the poor protecting the rich is coming to an end. Thankfully, we're going to have to see how this conscription bill pans out, right? We're going to have to see how this conscription bill pans out, because look, the hypothetical conscription bill that's not been announced yet. But let's just play it out. Let's just play it out then. So conscription happens tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning, Keir Starmer comes up. He's like, yeah, we kind of need loads of men, like loads of men. We kind of need loads. Where are they going to come from? You know, where are they going to come from? And what's going to be, you know, there's got to be an incentive for those people. There's got to be something that those people want to join the military. And right now, I don't see that. So you've got like the carrot and the stick, right? So you've got the carrot and the stick. Obviously, the carrot works better than the stick. But if you ain't got no carrots, you're going to have to use the stick, right? Right? You know, if you've got no carrots, you're going to have to use that stick. So there are no carrots right now. Nobody wants to join the military and go and fight the Russians for Starmer. So you're going to have to use the stick. And what can that stick be? Literally, what can that stick be? And, you know, without huge fines, which is what they're doing in Ukraine, I don't see how that can be a thing. And, you know, rich people don't care about fines. Do you know why? Because they're rich. So it's difficult, you know, it's difficult. James is saying, Sean, you're wrong and right. Oh, such a contradiction. A deal has been done that America now own a part of Greenland forever for nuclear missiles and defense. And it would now be impossible to invade. Right. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. I didn't. That's literally must have just happened in the last couple of minutes. X82 is saying they struggle to find a reason because we are fighting another war. Starmer has lost people's confidence and the reason to fight for him and war. Right. I'm going to jump. Now. I'm going to jump. I'm going to try and find some Trump Davos videos. Trump Davos. Let's see what Trump's been saying. Video. I need to search video. What's happening? We're back. We're back. Right. The connection's not the best today, guys. It's not. Let me try and refresh this screen. Right. I'm trying to get up some Trump Davos videos. Oh, the Watchman. No. Hang on. Right. Right. So, right. Yeah, you're right. Look, guys, I'm getting this in real time. The World Economic Conference in Davos has been evacuated amid an emergency response. Sorry, guys. I'm literally reading this in real time. So Davos has literally, guys, Davos has been evacuated right now. So the World Economic Forum in Davos has been evacuated. Thank you for putting me onto that. Davos evacuated as firefighters rush to the scene following Donald Trump's bombshell trade threat U-turn. Right, guys, I'm getting this in literally. This happened 20 minutes. This is literally 20 minutes ago. So I was on a live stream when this happened. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this live stream down. Right, I'm going to reopen a new live stream with a different subject heading, like Davos evacuated, and I'm going to do another live stream straight away. So stay around, guys. Stay around. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to reopen it back up, and I'm going to literally within a minute. So please stick around, guys, because I'm going to do another live stream straight away on Davos evacuated. And then we'll talk about that, okay? So literally, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to close this down, and I'll be straight back on, okay? You guys are fantastic. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the morning or later on, in 2 minutes.